What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 2. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the brand new shotgun that just came with the Season 4 Reloaded update. This is the MX Guardian. And let's kick this right off with our range profiles. Keeping in mind with this shotgun, it is quite unique. We have 3 different fire modes depending on which trigger attachment you put on. By default, it's full auto. And with this, we do have a one-shot kill potential out to right around 3.7 meters or so. Then our 2-shot kill will extend out to about 6.5 meters. After that, our 3-shot kill potential is about 16.5 meters. And then after that, it's going to take you at least 4 shots to kill, and we can no longer get a hit beyond 23 meters. As for semi-auto, this only very slightly improves our 1-shot kill potential. However, it massively improves our 2-shot kill potential, out to about 17.5 meters, which is excellent. And then beyond that, it can be a 3 to 4 shot kill. And then finally, with the burst option on this gun, again, our 1-shot kill potential doesn't really change much here. However, we do get more of a 2-shot kill potential than full auto, but much less than semi-auto. And for all of these, your maximum hit potential is just going to be 23 meters. Now, just for a really quick comparison with all of the other shotguns, so you guys can see them side by side, quite surprisingly, our 1-shot kill potential is only slightly worse than the KV Broadside. However, our 2-shot kill potential isn't even close to the KV Broadside unless we're using this with semi-auto. And also, out of all of the shotguns, this one does have the worst maximum hit potential at just 23 meters. Now, let's move on to our rate of fire values, and in full auto, our rate of fire is 426 rounds per minute, which means with a 2-shot kill, we're killing in just 141 milliseconds, which is great. However, at 3 shots to kill, which is often going to be the case, it's going to take you 282 milliseconds to kill. Then when it comes to semi-auto, our rate of fire cap is about 313 rounds per minute, which means a 2-shot kill is 192 milliseconds. That's still a very competitive time to kill, and it's worth noting that's much more consistent than our 2-shot kill with full auto, so you can actually be quite competitive with that. And then finally, with the 2-round burst, our rate of fire within the burst is really fast at 513 rounds per minute, and then we have a 100 millisecond burst delay. Now with this, with that 2-shot kill, since they're both coming out really quickly in a burst, we get a very, very fast time to kill potential at 117 milliseconds. However, if we don't get that 1 burst kill and we need that 3rd shot, your time to kill is now going to increase pretty significantly up to 334 milliseconds. So you really want to try to make sure you get that 1 burst kill if you're using the burst mode. Now, let's move on to our hipfire spread compared to the other shotguns, and as we can see here, it has the widest hipfire spread out of all of them, which isn't too surprising since this is a full auto. Also, just wanted to show you guys the pellet spread when you're hip firing versus aiming down sight, because just like with all of the other shotguns, if you aim down sight, it significantly tightens up your pellet spread, and therefore if you are starting to stretch that range out a little bit, you always want to at least try to get aim down sight to hit as many pellets as possible. Next, let's get into some handling stats, and our aim down sight time is pretty slow, or at least feels pretty slow, but it turns out it's actually right on average for shotguns in this game at 350 milliseconds. Then our sprint to fire time is the slowest in the shotgun category here at 220 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and 300 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. And this is something that noticeably holds this shotgun back if you're in a direct face-to-face gunfight with any of the other shotguns in the game. They're typically going to get their shot off first if you're both sprinting. But then finally, for our reload ad time, this is actually the best in the shotgun category at just 1.85 seconds. Now, when it comes to mobility, this shotgun is the worst in most of these categories. Our base movement speed and our sprint movement speeds are both the worst in the shotgun category. And our aim walking movement speed isn't great either, although it's a little bit better than the Lockwood 300 at just 2.73 meters per second. So this is another area that's designed to keep this gun in check since we do get the benefits of full auto. And that right there is going to cover it for the base stats of this gun that are really important to note, but now let's get into the attachments. And let's start this off with the barrel attachments and how they impact our range values. As we can see here, the first barrel, which is the short barrel, this will reduce our damage ranges by 12%. The mobile barrel will increase our ranges by 7%. And then finally, the Hype LM barrel will increase our ranges by 23%. So that one is quite nice if we're trying to stretch that range out at all. It is worth noting here, I'm just showing this off with full auto since that's a default. These range improvements also apply if you're using the gun in semi-auto or burst. As for the next set of attachments, I wanted to look at the unique attachments that improve our sprint to fire time, since that's a very important stat to be improving, especially with this gun. And when it comes to the ones outside of the standard lasers, we have the MX Pro Mag, which is our only magazine attachment, and this doesn't change our magazine capacity or anything. This one doesn't actually improve our sprint out time as much as either of the rear grips that help with that. So if you only have room for one of these and you're trying to improve your sprint out time, always go for the rear grip before the magazine. However, of course, if you've got room for two of these attachments, you can stack that magazine with one of these rear grips for the best possible sprint out time. Now, let's move on to our unique ammo types, and we're going to start this off with full auto slugs. With this, it's not really a great combination to be using. We only get a one-shot kill potential to the torso and head out to 5 meters, and beyond that, it's going to be a 2-shot kill even with headshots out to just over 20 meters. And then beyond that, it's going to be a 3-shot kill. Overall, definitely wouldn't recommend that. I should also point out we can use explosive slugs, but just like with all of the other shotguns, I would never recommend using this because it's essentially fully countered by the Bomb Squad perk, and it becomes useless the moment anybody in the lobby has Bomb Squad. Next up though, let's have a look at semi-auto combined with these slugs. And this is at least a little bit better. Our one-shot kill potential to the body is still only 5 meters though, so not great there. But at least we do get a one-shot headshot potential out to a little bit over 20 meters. So that makes it somewhat viable. Also, with it being semi-auto, you can kind of treat it like a DMR, and you still get a pretty decent time to kill potential with that 2-shot kill at 192 milliseconds. So if you're really set on using slugs, I would definitely make sure I combine it with semi-auto. But at the end of the day, if you want to use a gun like this, you're so much better off just using a battle rifle or a marksman rifle. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend using slugs with this shotgun. But then finally, I wanted to point out, if you use the burst trigger, this opens up the ability to use Dragon's Breath. So you can only use Dragon's Breath with this particular trigger. And don't shoot the messenger here, that this is a pretty solid way to run this shotgun. Our one burst kill potential is now 12.5 meters, which is great. You're going to be killing people super quickly at 117 milliseconds. However, there is a big trade-off with this, and that is you can't even hit targets beyond 18 meters. So you do lose some of that maximum hit potential out of this. But I mean, you usually don't want to be challenging gunfights beyond that range anyway with a shotgun. So like I said, this is actually quite a solid combination to be using. I should also mention I tested this against Bomb Squad, and Bomb Squad only very slightly reduces the effectiveness of Dragon's Breath combined with Burst. You'll still be able to kill those Bomb Squad users just fine. And with that, you may also be wondering about Burst combined with Slugs. And I'll just tell you straight up, I definitely wouldn't recommend that. There's just too much recoil between each of those shots that it's effectively useless beyond like point blank range. And with that, it's now time to move into some excellent attachment combinations with this shotgun, and I'm just going to do one per fire mode. If you want to use this in full auto, I like to go stealthy with this one. So I've got the SA Schweigen DX muzzle, or however you pronounce that. This one actually improves our damage range a little bit. We've got the Point G3P04 laser. This one is visible, so you have to be aware of that, and maybe you will want to swap this out with the one that isn't visible and still helps with hip spread. We've got the MX DCP0 stock, the XRK Rush rear grip, and the MX Pro Mag. With this one, we're primarily going to be hip firing. Our sprint out time is about as good as you can get on this shotgun at around 133 milliseconds. And generally speaking, we're going for a 2-shot kill with this, and our 2-shot kill potential is about 7.5 meters. It's not amazing by any means, but with this gun, it's all about just staying on the move and spamming away. And if you do that, you should be able to find some success. However, this isn't my favorite fire mode on this gun. I actually prefer using this in semi-auto. So let's have a look at the second build I've got for you guys. And with this one, we're of course using the semi-auto trigger, the XRK Rush rear grip, the Bryson choke for the tightest possible spread, the Hype LM barrel for the best possible range, and the VLK laser 7mW because we want to be aiming down sight with this shotgun anytime we start to stretch the range out. You can hip fire with it just fine up close, and often what I'll do is I'll start hip firing as I'm in the process of aiming down sight. And with this, you get a very consistent 2-shot kill. Our maximum 2-shot kill potential is 22 meters if we're aiming down sight nice and centered. Our aim down sight time is a bit slow, but like I said, you can hip fire as you're in the process of aiming down sight, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Our sprint out time is also excellent here at 133 milliseconds. And just overall, I actually found this to be the best and most consistent method of running this shotgun. Like I said, I prefer semi-auto over full auto with the MX Guardian. In saying that though, there's another excellent way to run this, and this is with the 2-round burst combined with Dragon's Breath, and I call this my Doof setup. So with this one, we are using that combination. We've also once again got that XRK Rush rear grip, We've got the Stovall Tack Laser. This is the one that isn't visible but does help with hipfire. And then finally, we've got the Bryson Choke, just so we're hitting as many pellets as possible because it really tightens up that pellet spread. And with this, we've got quite a fast aim down sight time, which again, we do want to get aim down sight to maximize the number of pellets we're hitting. At least if you try to stretch the range out a little bit. Again, you can hipfire just fine right up close and personal. Our sprint out time is still very solid at 150 milliseconds. And with this, we're capable of getting that one burst out to 12.5 meters if we get aim down sight on target. Generally speaking, you want to keep yourself under 10 meters with this for consistency's sake. But if you do that, you are going to have a very, very strong shotgun on your hands. And I've also found quite a bit of success with this. Now, out of these 3 builds though, my preference is still semi-auto. That's the best way to use this shotgun in my opinion. But I'd say this is the second best option, and quite surprisingly, full auto is my least favorite fire mode with the MX Guardian. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on this brand new shotgun. As for my thoughts on this, well, I definitely would have preferred a different class of weapon, like maybe a new LMG for instance, because we haven't had a single one. I think at least they managed to keep the MX Guardian in check in full auto mode, so that makes it a little bit less frustrating, because it is frustrating to run into really spammable full auto shotguns. Having said that though, I do think the semi-auto mode on this is perhaps a little bit too powerful. I think we need to give just a little bit more time for this to settle in for me to say that for sure. But those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this shotgun in those comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.